Hi everyone, Spiderman 1991 here. It's time to do my comic reviews for the week. Alright, got at least 8 comics here to review, so this is going to take a while. Number 1, from Kaboom, Disney's Ducktales number 5. Alright, what happens is Scrooge McDuck, his 3 nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Webby, arrive at St. Canard to speak with Launchpad about the way he's running Quackerworks, which Scrooge merely bought to sort of be a dummy corporation for him to store some stuff in. But Scrooge and the kids arrive at the same time. Fenton Crackshell arrives too. For those of you who don't know, Fenton Crackshell is the original Gizmo Duck from the Ducktales TV series. Anyways, Fenton, right when Fenton shows up at Launchpad and Drake Mallard's house, saying that he needs to warn them about the ink that Magica and Phantom Blot have. But right when Fenton gets there, though, Magica and Phantom Blot release the ink all over St. Canard, and that makes the city go all wibbly-wobbly. That's the term I'd use. And St. Canard pretty much gets a little out of control and stuff. And so Drake Mallard and Launchpad tell Scrooge McDuck that he's Darkwing and takes him to his base so that they can discuss what's going to happen. And then they're later joined by Scrooge's friend, who's you also may remember from the DuckTales TV series, Gyro Gearloose, who's the guy who built the Gizmo Duck suit. He and Honker decide to figure out a way to repair the Gizmo Duck suit, and they figured out a way to get the suit's assembly process to work in reverse, where normally Fenton would normally say, blathering Limusgate, I think that's what he said, and the armor would come to Fenton wherever he was and attach himself and activate and attach itself to him. Now they figured out how to reverse the process, so now they could use the armor to summon Fenton. But right when they're getting ready to do so, Magica and Phantom Blot send Megavolt and the Beagle Boys to steal the suit. So Megavolt and the Beagle Boys arrive, but our heroes quickly defeat them. But then the villains had another ace up their sleeves, as they used the ink from Phantom Blot to give themselves extra power-ups, which from last few issues of Darkwing Duck have shown that other people who were exposed to the ink turned them into supervillains. Now, apparently gives regular supervillains an extra power-up. And so they steal the suit in an attempt by Phantom Blot to lead them back to their base at Quackerworks headquarters. And that's where part 1 of the DuckTales Darkwing crossover ends. Now they all have to head over to Quackerworks and try to stop them. Alright, so far I think this is a great little crossover. It sets everything up. Though. I am curious about where the heck Fenton Crackshell has been this entire time, because he was the original owner of the Gizmo Duck suit, and I really don't recall if they ever explained how the Gizmo Duck suit was wound up in the possession of Quackerworks. And as far as DuckTales is concerned with me, I was really the only Disney cartoon I ever watched was Darkwing. DuckTales, though, I caught on and off, though. It wasn't really a big thing that I watched regularly, but I do like how they are sort of incorporating both books into this crossover, but the only downside is there's going to be 2 parts in DuckTales and 2 parts in Darkwing, but they'll both be the final issues of both series, so it's a little disappointing, but hey, so far this story looks good, and it's a great send-off. Alright, next comic, from Image, Super Dinosaur number 5. Alright, basically it continues from last issue with this kid, Derek, and Super Dinosaur, who, known by his nickname SD, go off to deal with Megaraptor, which was created by Derek's dad's archenemy, Max Magnimus. And while Derek and SD are dealing with Megaraptor with their new robotic suits, Max Maximus breaks into the Dinodome, and he gets into a fight with Dr. Dynamo. And during the fight between Maximus and Doc Dynamo, Erin, the daughter of the tech crews for the dome, who also work on the SD's harnesses and Derek's equipment, shows up and uses Derek's little helper robot Wheels to knock Maximus unconscious. But back to the fight with Megaraptor. Apparently, these two suits, Derek found a way to combine both suits so that they can make some sort of giant fighting robot, which looked really awesome. And SD was able to take full control of the robot while Derek went and shut down the control helmet that Megaraptor was using. Because here's the thing, though, most dinosaurs, the dinosaurs in this book are actually genetically altered to be smaller, and reducing their size apparently makes them smarter and makes them intelligent enough to speak. But it's kind of the opposite with Megaraptor, because now he's bigger, but he's dumb and a wild animal, and the only way Maximus is able to control him is because he was using this sort of control device on him, but Derek shut it down, so that's how it ended. Alright, in the aftermath, everyone learns that last issue it was Erica, Aaron's sister, who activated the tracking beacon that led Maximus to the dome. But she's feeling really sad and guilty about it, but Derek tells her that it's okay because it did draw Maximus out, and now he's arrested. Derek's dad, though, he's still depressed because during the fight he should have seen all this coming. He should have been better prepared, because since the start of the series, Derek's dad has been suffering from a disease that's been reducing his intelligence and awareness. Not so sure if he was going to die or not, but it's pretty much, he was a genius, but his intelligence has been his intelligence and awareness has been going down, and that pretty much depressed him. And also, there is a scene where Derek congratulates Aaron for taking out Maximus with Wheels, and then they kind of go off and play because she wasn't going to give Wheels back, and it cuts away to SD in the background, and he's looking a little jealous. And the final scene is what really made me happy with this, is that Dr. Dynamo, again, Derek's dad, he goes to see Maximus in prison to pretty much for bragging rights to say that he's defeated him, and they have his base. They know where his base is, and he can figure out a way to reverse the intelligence reducing that Maximus caused with him. And, of course, at that point, Maximus thinks, yeah, I have many bases. And while you were focused on losing your intelligence, you should have been asking yourself, what happened to your wife, also known as Derek's mother, and why can't you or Derek remember her? That was definitely a good cliffhanger on Robert Kirkman's part. I mean, I love the guy on Image. I love Robert Kirkman when he writes Super Dinosaur and Invincible. Those are my only two Image titles, but still, it's really great. Still, Super Dinosaur, it's a very fun book. It's for all ages, so everyone can enjoy it. And again, I like the hook ending, how Kirkman kind of leaves you there wanting more to know what happened to Derek's mom, and why couldn't Derek or Dr. Dynamo remember her. Alright, now for Marvel. Ultimate Comics, X-Men, number 2. Alright, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, and the Human Torch save Rogue, fight Sentinels to save Rogue. And during the fight, though, Iceman loses his right forearm. I mean, he still has the upper half of his arm. It's just like everything from the elbow down is gone. And also then Human Torch gets Iceman out of there, and then Kitty is able to successfully phase Rogue down into the New York subway system, and they're able to catch a train and get away from the Sentinels. After the fight, though, Rogue reveals that she was told to come to New York by God, and that it's all part of his plan, which just makes Human Torch, Iceman, and Kitty get a little freaked out by that. And of course, Johnny says, "Okay, Bobby dated a crazy girl." Meanwhile, the other story going on in this book is that Jimmy Hudson, Wolverine's son in this universe, has been captured by a strike force led by Reverend William Stryker, who in this universe has a bunch of Sentinel tech bonded with him. I'm not so sure if it's armor or if it's actually a part of him, but he's kind of like a Sentinel human hybrid now. And he's hunting mutants and he claims that he's doing this for God and that it's also part of God's plan. And of course, the final page of this issue cuts to Egypt, where it starts zooming in on a cave and there's a bright red light in it. So, my theory is that what Rogue and Stryker are referring to as God is actually Apocalypse. The Ultimate Universe's Apocalypse. I do know that the Ultimate X-Men did fight Apocalypse, but I didn't read that story. I just looked it up on Wikipedia like five minutes after I read this, and apparently, there wasn't Ultimate Apocalypse, but I think now he's coming back. So that's what's going on. What might be going on here. It still felt kind of short, though. I mean, the first issue of this was just like pretty much a recap for everything in the X-Men's part of the Ultimate Universe, and now this just felt a little fast to me. And I really hope things start picking up by the third issue, because otherwise I feel like I'm going to drop it soon. Alright, next Ultimate Comics, Spiderman, number 3. Alright, right after Miles walks on his wall, last issue when Miles discovers he has wall-crawling powers, he talks to his friend Gank again, and Miles brings up that the spider that bit him was at his uncle's apartment, so they agree to go see Miles' Uncle Aaron to ask about the spider. But when the boys arrive at Miles' uncle's apartment, the place is clean. There's no furniture, it's completely empty. And then they just decide to go home, and while they're walking back, they notice a building's on fire. And of course, Gank encourages Miles to go over there and help people. So Miles does that. He uses his powers, walks up, saves a woman and a kid, and of course people are like congratulating him, saying he's a real hero and stuff. And of course Miles doesn't stay long, otherwise people might recognize him. But right when he's in an alley, Gank meets up with his friend Gank in an alley, and Miles just says that he doesn't want to be a superhero. He just wants to live a normal life, and he says that and Gank says, like, dude, you could be another Spider-Man, but Miles says, there's already a Spider-Man, clearly this guy likes doing this kind of stuff, I don't, and I just want to live a normal, average life. And they both decide not to bring it up. They both decide to keep the whole spider powers thing between them, and just get on with their lives. And the next day, though, they start attending some sort of charter boarding school in Brooklyn. And it's apparently the issue just starts to like do a montage like over a number of months with just Miles studying, and he's studying, living a normal life. But then one night, Miles has a nightmare where apparently Electro comes into his room and shocks him and electrocutes him. And right when Miles wakes up from his nightmare, a school official comes in and tells him that all the students have to be in the gym immediately for an emergency drill. And when the students arrive in the gym, a teacher tells them that this is just a normal drill that they run in case of special superhuman activity in the city. And when everyone starts asking questions like, what's going on? What's happening? The teacher says, now then, we haven't heard anything yet, but supposedly Spider-Man has been shot. So now we're at the point in Miles' timeline where we're at the night where Peter Parker died. And of course, when Miles hears that Spider-Man has been shot, he's shocked. Because now I think he's starting to realize that he might have to pick up the slack where Peter left off and become the next Spider-Man. So yeah, it feels like finally after 3 issues, we're really the story is finally at the point where we want to be, where where it's at Peter Parker's death, and we're finally going to see how Miles decides to become the new Spider-Man. I mean, the first 2 issues felt slow. Now I feel like we're finally getting somewhere. Right, next up, FF number 10. Last issue, though, the Spider-Man, Reed Richards and Nathaniel Richards went through the gate of Edril or something. Anyways, the gate supposedly just takes a person to where they need, not necessarily where they want to be, but where they need to be. And each one goes in a different location. Reed winds up in the Baxter building because he needs to be with his wife, Sue Storm. And Nathaniel Richards, he's sent to Latveria, where the last remaining evil Reed Richards has Victor Von Doom under his control. And at first, evil Reed assumed that Nathaniel was here because Victor needed him, but apparently evil Reed needs Nathaniel. I don't think that implies anything evil. I think it's just because Nathaniel might be able to talk evil Reed out of his quest for this whole conquest and destroying the world thing. And Spider-Man, he's sent to Avengers Mansion, where he talks to the Thing and encourages him to go home to the Baxter building. So Spider-Man and the Thing return to the Baxter building so that the 4 of them can get back together and deal with this whole war between the 4 cities. And Thing says that he's brought some friends to help. And out of the plane that the Spider-Man Thing took comes Captain America, Iron Man, and Hawkeye. And also, in a sort of side story, Ronan the Accuser who has control of the Kree Empire, has planned an assault on the Inhumans. So, yeah. Alright, I like this issue much better than the previous FF issues because now it feels like the team's getting back together, and now we're finally going to have a conclusion to the whole War of the 4 Cities next issue, because next month Fantastic Four number 600 comes out, and that's going to be a big deal. With FF, the whole War of the 4 Cities thing, I felt it was pretty much spread out. Now it feels like things are back on track, and we're going to get to some real progression next issue. Right, last Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 671. Mary Jane Watson. Issue opens up with Mary Jane Watson saving citizens from giant spiders with her newly acquired spider powers. Now, Spider-Man, after Mary Jonah Jameson went almost completely man-spider last issue, Spider-Man is able to take him down and web him up, and he tells the city, and Alistair Smythe might be alive. We're not too sure, but he pretty much tells everyone to keep Jonah in this locked up until he finds a cure. So Spider-Man heads over to Horizon, where Reed Richards has successfully made a cure from the anti-venom symbiote. However, though, this means that Eddie Brock can no longer be anti-venom. And also, apparently, we learned that the person in Lab 6 of Horizon Labs is Michael Morbius. But that's really all you get with Michael Morbius. We find out he's the person running Lab 6, that's it. Well, no character in the comic knows, it's just pretty much revealed to the audience. A little bit of dramatic irony. Alright, and Madam Web shows up at teleports in Horizon and tells them that all the spider towers that Horizon built to sort of jam the spider senses of everyone who's infected is messing up her powers, and she needs them shut down immediately. And Reed Richards reveals to Max Modell that the same technology also robbed Spider-Man of his spider sense, and Max realizes that he thinks he could probably fix this by using the towers to re-trigger Spider-Man's spider sense. So Spider-Man arrives at his lab, but it's revealed that Peter Parker is already logged in, because Jackal sent the tarantula in there to destroy the cure. How is Tarantula able to get in? Well, in case you're not following Spider Island, Tarantula is the clone of Peter Parker known as Kane. That the Jackal turned into the giant man spider that he is in this issue. So, anyways, during the fight, Tarantula is about to throw Spider-Man into the vat with the cure in it, which would remove Peter's powers. But at the very second, the scientists at Horizon Labs have figured out the right frequency, and Spider-Man has his spider sense back! Yay! Now that Spider-Man's spider sense is returned and he has that new Spider-Man Kung Fu, he gets the upper hand and he knocks Tarantula into the vat with the cure, and it turns Tarantula back into Kane. And here's the other good thing: Kane still has his spider powers. So Kane tells Spider-Man that the Queen is behind all this, and that he'll show her to her base. And meanwhile, though, Madam Web has discovered that the signal that gave Spider-Man his spider sense back has amplified her powers so that she can see the future way more clearly. But it's also enhanced the powers of the Queen, because now when she was mad at the Jackal, she burnt him to a crisp with she pretty much killed Jackal with her sonic scream now. So, good news, Spider-Man has his spider sense back. Bad news, the villain is now more powerful than ever. So it's kind of a win-lose type of situation. Alright, now for DC. Superboy number 2. We get a little flashback to when Superboy woke up after he broke out of his containment pod, and some guards from nowhere were sent to take him down and try to get him back in the pod. But Superboy fights back with his tactile telekinesis, and it seems like he's about to go all Lex Luthor on them. I mean, but the redhead scientist, Caitlin Fairchild, she's able to stop him before he does any real damage. Okay, back in the present, continuing from last issue, that guy who came to get Superboy, Templar, he's decided to put Superboy in a field test before sending him to deal with the Teen Titans. So Templar has Superboy sent to stop a prison riot going on at this type of prison called Pen 51, which is used to hold alien prisoners and stuff. And he's decided to send Superboy to deal with it, to see if Superboy can deal with this. And Superboy and his handler, Rose Wilson, are dispatched into the prison. And while Rose is able to kill one of the aliens, the other two nearly beat Superboy down. And, I mean, and even though Superboy's fighting back with his tactile telekinesis, these two aliens are really beating him down, and Superboy's thinking, okay. And at one brief moment in Superboy's little inner monologue, he says help in Kryptonian, which is really weird. And right after he says help in Kryptonian, his powers immediately reach beyond all levels, and he's able to take the entire building down. And then Templar has Rose Wilson return to the chopper, and they fly back to the Nowhere base without Superboy, because they believe he's dead. The reason they believe Superboy's dead is because the suit that he's wearing here, they use it to monitor his tactile telekinesis, and when Superboy's readings went off when he brought down the building, he was also registered as unconscious, so they just assumed, okay, he's dead, let's get out of here. Okay, Superboy number 2. I really like this issue as opposed to last issue, though. Because it feels like now we're getting somewhere, and now I think Superboy might be free from Project Nowhere or not. It's kind of up in the air towards the end, but at the beginning, though, that little flashback to when Superboy woke out of his pod, he had no hair, and when he was kind of like threatening the guards and stuff, talking about survival, I swear I almost saw Lex Luthor. So at the beginning, it felt like he was kind of channeling Lex Luthor. But I did like how Scott LaBelle, I do like how Scott LaBelle has really taken it forward with Superboy's tactile telekinesis powers, because in the recent years when he was on Teen Titans, he started to develop Kryptonian powers, and for a while I think everyone forgot that he has a special form of telekinesis. And this is the cool thing, though, since it's his only power in this universe for now. He was able to use his tactile telekinesis like it was X-ray vision. That was pretty awesome. And still good. And I do like how they kind of added like both subconscious sides of maybe both DNA donors. Lex Luthor, when he went a little crazy after being threatened by some guards at the beginning, and in the end when he was when he was thinking in Kryptonian language, and he brought down the entire building. That was pretty impressive too, the bringing down the entire building. But I want to see what happened. I still want to continue with this and see what happens to Superboy, because I think this might be the series to show how he's gonna join the Teen Titans. Okay, moving on. Oh wait, another thing, one thing I want to point out, the thing about Superboy still being free from Project Nowhere, I'm not sure. I think that's kind of debatable towards the end, but I don't know, he might be going by, he might be free, he might not go back to Nowhere, he might explore the world after this. I'm not too sure, but it seems most likely he's not going to go back to Nowhere. Okay, back now for my last comic, Green Lantern #2. I have good news for everyone. Hal Jordan gets a Green Lantern ring again. Yay! Here's the bad news. Sinestro made it. The ring is basically a duplicate of Sinestro's ring. Yes, apparently Green Lanterns can duplicate their power rings. So Sinestro was able to duplicate his ring to give to Hal. But because Sinestro created it, the ring will Sinestro has the ability to deactivate the ring whenever he wants to. Deactivate and reactivate it. And also, the ring can't harm Sinestro. So Hal can't turn on him. And after Sinestro saves people and repairs a bridge, he pretty much gives Hal a speech that even though he's used the Green Lantern ring to become like a superhero, he should use the ring to be more than that, more than just a simple superhero among Earth. Just pretty much do more, because when Hal did get the duplicate ring and people were in danger, he went and they were trying to save people. Hal grabbed one person, but then Sinestro pretty much deactivated the ring and showed him what he could do, and Sinestro used his ring to save everybody as well as repair the bridge at the same time, just as an example. But after Sinestro gives his little speech, he gets attacked by a member of the Sinestro Corps. And, of course, Sinestro kills him and tells Hal that the reason he came to Hal Jordan is because he needs Hal's help to free Korugar from the Sinestro Corps. Alright. This is interesting now, because Sinestro has to team up with pretty much his greatest enemy to deal with, an army he created. Yeah, I really like Green Lantern, especially the part that now, if Hal wants to be a Green Lantern, he has to rely on Sinestro. That's very clever, Jeff Johns. I really like Green Lantern #2, and I'm really excited to see where this story goes. Very, very impressive. Alright, so, quick recap. Green Lantern #2, very awesome. Can't wait. Very awesome. Can't wait to see Hal Jordan and Sinestro go to Beauregard to deal with the Sinestro Corps. Superboy number 2. This issue is way better than the first. And I want to keep going to see where it to see how the whole thing with Superboy concludes, and if this will be the series that shows how he joins the Teen Titans. Amazing Spider-Man 671. Probably my favorite part to the entire Spider Island storyline. Spider-Man has his spider sense back. This is great. FF number 10. Better than the last issue. Great that the 4 members of the main 4 of the FF are finally working to getting back together. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 3. Finally, after two issues, we're finally getting somewhere with Miles Morales' origin. Ultimate Comics XMen number 2. Still very strong feeling that the Ultimate Universe's version of Apocalypse is going to come back. Super Dinosaur number 5. Very fun. Really enjoy it. If you love Robert Kirkman's work, I would definitely recommend picking this up. And Ducktales number 5. Great start to a great crossover. Hope this entire thing pays off. And Comic of the Week, I would have to say, is Amazing Spider-Man 671. Really happy that Spider-Man got his spider sense back. I mean, I'm not sure if it will be permanent. It does seem like it depends on whether or not they're going to keep the... It does seem like the spider sense is dependent on the towers, but who knows? Maybe at the end they'll finally they'll finally figure out a way to make it permanent. It will be permanent, so very happy that he has his spider sense back. And that's all for my comic book reviews this week. That's all I'd say. Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you next week.